G'day and welcome back to the 40 channel. Today we're going to start to make this look like an FJ40. So we're going to start chucking some pedals on, take care of the roof, which has been sitting in the background for a long time. This is Maggie, our dog, that you always see just trying to get involved. So we're going to take care of the roof, finish painting that off, do all the sealing on that, put the windscreen frame on, and we'll see what other bits and pieces we get on. Hope you enjoy it. I've got a bit to learn about this 40. Jack's just wiping down the entire roof with some wax and grease remover. Priming the inside of the roof now. Jack's going to try something that we've never seen done before. We're going to get the leftover Raptor liner that we've got, so we've got a bit of white that we use for the tinting. Just over 3/4 of a bottle left. We're going to Raptor line, or Jack's going to Raptor line the inside of the fiberglass roof. Just going to strip this fuel tank down, give it a really good clean up. New hoses, and then we can install the fuel tank too. Start putting things back together, Jack.
Finally.
I'll hand you this.
Okay.
Got it?
Yes.
I need you to mount that to the bottom.
Doesn't it go this way?
And it goes up and lines up with those holes up there. That's it. Okay, you nearly got it, that's it. Just sit it over there. Okay. See those holes?
Yeah.
Yep, so get one of these bolts just next to me.
Oh. Yay. I'm going to do this one first.
Alright, so we're just going to make a rubber grommet for our fuel line to go through. So just put the rubber grommet down, 14mm hole punch. And now you can see the fuel line will go through that and protect it in the cab. Just putting this on.
Oh, hello. What in the world is that?
This is the fuel tank.
You're going to sit on top of a fuel tank?
That's right. I'm going to sit on top of the fuel tank. See that little tube down the bottom there?
Yeah. In that.
We need to push it onto that.
Yokies.
I'll hold it up.
It's in, but there's a little ball thing.
You got to get it over that.
I don't know how to get that over there. It's all coming apart. Coming together.
Oh good, I'm glad it's not coming apart.
Righty-tighty, lefty-doosey.
Perfect.
I'm going right way.
Right, on the roof ceiling. So we've got the 227 again, so we've used that before. Just got one of these little silicon caulking shapers. So we'll use that to get around the edges and mold it in, hopefully. And then on top of that, we'll get a little bit of wax and grease remover on my finger, and I'll just sort of smooth it around and tap it around. The reason I use wax and grease remover is it stops it sticking to your hand, and once it sticks to you, it seems to build up and just end up everywhere. It's crazy. You've got the little drain holes, and when this was nearly dry, I put some wax and grease remover on my finger, and I just came in like that, so that way the water has a chance to drain out. So that's all dry now, so I'm just going to come around and just clean some of these little bits up with a razor blade, some little bits like this, and just give it a light sand, give the whole roof a sand, and then we'll paint it. Beauty of having a big hole in the roof is that I can just wipe everything to the hole, so it's not going to get caught in the gutters. It's a really good idea to cut a hole in your roof before you start painting. Now it's not a brilliant white, but it's the original white. I see a lot of people put this colour on and they talk about how ivory it is more than being a white, but as far as I can tell, that's what it's supposed to be, so let's go with it. Just going to mount the hardware to the window frame. Clean up the window demister brackets. Use some orange agent. Just mounting the bottom rubber seal for the windscreen on. We've picked the shortest day of the year, so it's only just gone 5 o'clock and it's pretty dark. Jack's just putting on these little star washers, little retainer washers onto the back of them.
That one and go on this one, it's so large. Hinges? I don't need it this one.
Righto, so as you saw the other night, it was pretty dark and freezing cold. We only spent 20 minutes out here. But we got the window frame sort of all mounted up, which is cool, bit of a test fit. Got all the mounting hardware fitted onto the window frame. So it's just wanted to see how it would fit. Just picked up the original roll bar from the powder coaters down at Bend Weld. Done a beautiful job. This looks sensational. Nice black and shiny. My wife actually wanted this colour, but we overruled her. Anyway, so we're just going to do a bit of a test fit on the truck now. Righto, we're at the stage where my foundation is done. Rock solid foundation, and now we can start putting everything back together. As you know in life, if you don't have a rock solid foundation, things start falling apart. So just like life, you've got to have your cruiser, good solid base. So here we are. Roll bar brackets again from the powder coater. What we're actually going to do with these is we're going to put some of this closed cell foam just inside this bracket area here, so that when the clamps clamp onto the roll bar, it'll give a nice snug fit and it's not going to chip or damage any of this. It's waterproof, so it's not going to absorb the water. It's great. It's great stuff. It'll just protect the roll bar, protect all the bracketry, and give it that good snug tight fit that we need. Just mark out where we need to cut it. Just going to push down hard right where that hole is. That'll mark that hole out on the other side. Now with our hole punch, just go a slightly bigger hole than what we need. Perfect. We'll line all that up, we'll stick that down. A little bit of grease and wax remover. Line that hole up. Perfect. Do the same with the inside of the frame of the roll bar, but this time we'll roll right around it. We'll just come right up over this lip. Again, just to compress it or stop any chips or damage. I'll make those ones up. Again, we'll mark those holes out. See our hole marks. Test fit again. Perfect. Quick wipe out with some wax and grease remover. Let's line these holes up first, I think. So that'll all clamp up nice and tight. Give a really nice finish, I think. We'll check it out. Righto, so this is just a test fit for the roll cage. Not only does it look cool, but it's just going to give that extra bit of safety factor to it as well. So the other thing we're going to do is make up a support bracket underneath so it doesn't just bolt straight through the sheet steel, because that'll just rip out. We'll just play around with the position to make sure we get that right. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. Take some measurements, we'll try and get this roll bar as centered as possible, and we'll mark out where the holes are going to go. So we don't risk damaging the paintwork on the side, we're going to drill up from the bottom with our little pilot holes. So I've been on this roll cage a lot longer than I expected. A couple of hours. It's just sort of all out of square and skew-if, so I'm just taking the time to try to get it all perfectly aligned, so when you stand back and look at it, it doesn't look skew-if, or if you're looking at it from the side, it doesn't look like it's out of whack. So I think we're nearly there. Just bolting each corner down as we go and then working and manipulating it. A couple more bolt holes to go, and then we make up some support brackets underneath and we're done. Sit down there, so make sure you look straight up. Ready? Yeah, because it's not done. Sit it down there. cleaning all the holes up with Dremel, just all the burrs and all that kind of stuff. Make them all nice and clean and flush just to make it sit nicer. Just going to get some etch primer just on the end of the brush, or paint all the inside of these holes, just where there's bare steel. Any rust forming later on. Good coating over it. Once that etch primer dries, we'll just put some enamel paint over the top of that. Really protect it then. Righto, that's it for another episode. So we finished the roof off, got all that sorted. Jack painted the inside, painted the top. It's all been polished and cleaned up, which I didn't film because that's boring stuff. We've got the roll cage on, a few other bits and pieces. Not a long episode today, but good quality stuff, so it's excellent. Anyway, feel free to subscribe. If you want to leave a comment, do that below. Righto, until next time, take care of yourselves.
Thanks for watching.
Inspirations are going to go to Pakistan. We're going to check out another father and son duo. I love it when families get involved and take a cruiser that looks like it's ready for the scrapyard and build it up to something that's absolute mint, like it's straight off the showroom floor. So let's check out Faisal and his son Ammar's BJ. Faisal and his family were really keen on picking up a 40 series. A 45 was really what they were after, and that was at the top of their list. But they knew that they were extremely rare in Pakistan, so a 40 would also fit the bill if they could find the right one. Faisal and Ammar knew what they were after. They were after a BJ, they wanted it fairly stock, and they wanted a hard top. They started looking around. They tested a stack of vehicles, but none of them really clicked with them, until they came across this one at an auction yard. The chassis and the tub were fairly much rust-free, but everything else was totally worn out and needed work. The first thing Faisal did was chuck some big chunky 33-inch tyres on it. He liked the look to start with. They stripped the body off and got the chassis realigned. And then they spent endless hours hanging off a grinder, a drill and a wire wheel, cleaning it right back. Then they painted it. Initially they hit it with rust reformer and then put 2K gloss over it. Now the vehicle was all back in their garage, the first thing they did was strip the tub off and started cleaning the underneath. Again, hanging off a wire wheel. After seam sealing it and coating it, it was bolted back onto the chassis, then sent back to the body shop for further repairs. More parts were needed. Apart from the tub, which was in pretty good condition now, and cleaned up, they started chasing up parts from a local market in a multiple of colours. The hood was olive, the doors were green, the rear side and panels were green, the windscreen was white and the bib was yellow. Starting to look more like a rainbow than a 40 series. All the parts were cleaned and the old body filler was removed and the sheet metal was straightened out. From the body shop, the vehicle was towed back home and the paint preparation were all done in their own garage. All the parts were stripped down again and cleaned to bare metal, and then primed with a high build 2K primer. And it was left for well over a couple of weeks to ensure that it was hardened. Then they got to work wet sanding with a fine grit to bring out that nice smooth shine. All the hardware had been removed, stripped and cleaned. Every single nut and bolt from this vehicle was in fairly good condition. So they bagged it all, segregated it for galvanizing and cadmium coating. And my word, the results are amazing. If you want to see some bling, check out this. Next, it was time for them to decide on a colour. I know from experience, this is a very tough decision. Faisal already owns a 70 series cruiser, which is in factory 033 white. A few options were considered: freeborn red, yellow, a medium blue, but in the end they went with a classic beige 464. The heater, the blower, the indicators, PDO winch, radiator, dash plate, all the other hardware was all cleaned right back and restored back to a factory looking finish. Since their roof was cracked, they had to source another one from a local shop. This one was in an excellent condition with only a small amount of rust in the gutter, where they had a local fabricator make up a new part, rivet it to the roof. After sealing the channel, they got the roof primed and painted in Toyota Supra white paint. Originally the 40 came with a B engine, but they pulled that out at the beginning of restoration and sold it off to an old parts dealer. They picked up and used a 3B engine. In Pakistan, pretty much all the parts are imported from Japan. And since the Japanese really look after their stuff, this particular engine, fairly low Ks and was considered almost new, and the 3B was running as smooth as silk. 33 inch by 15 inch chrome steel rims with an Old Man Emu 2-inch lift, nitrocharger shocks. They loved the finished product of what they've been able to achieve. And for those big 33 inch mud terrain tyres, well, Faisal has another project in mind for them. Now for the interior. From the very beginning, they started collecting the old grey interior, but later on, he'd gone to an old spare parts dealer, and there was a BJ40 LX. This one had been shipped over from Japan and cut up into all bits and pieces. Luckily for Faisal, he was able to score all the interior. For the brown door handles and the door cards, he had to buy the complete doors. The rear brown plastic mouldings were mint, and the zebra seats were almost like brand new. The vehicle had only been driven 38,000 kilometres in Japan. He also ended up getting the PTO winch from it, plus some rear barn doors. The rear plastic cards required a little bit of drilling and bolting to get into the factory brackets, which took them all night, but the end result was amazing. The air conditioning was installed at home, and all it needs now is the cooler to be charged. Faisal and Ammar and the rest of his family knew exactly what they were after. They went out, they found what they wanted, and made a few tweaks along the way, and came across the LX unicorn parts that really tied this project together and gave it that incredible finish that you see today. These guys weren't afraid of spending big nights and cleaning up and preparing every part to bring it up like brand new. Guys, your Sandy 40 has come up incredible. The end result is like something you'd see on a showroom floor that everyone would have been drooling over way back in the late 70s. With that LX trim, it has really brought that extra little bit of luxury, if you call it that, back to the 40 series. I can see that you and your family are really going to enjoy driving this around Pakistan. If you want to check out more of Faisal and Ammar's story, check out BJ40 Classic on Instagram. You'll see their entire build from beginning to end, as well as where they're going to keep going in the future. And to see some of their beautiful scenery of Pakistan and their overlanding trips over there, check out the other Instagram page, Explore with Yoda. Anyway guys, thanks for letting me share this beautiful vehicle, fantastic result. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, we'll see you then.